Yahawah, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi. An alkaline body forms the basis for our connection with the Most High, Yahawah. This is a topic I want to explore in further detail today. First, by taking a look at some research that was done in the previous century by a German scientist, although many others have examined the same topic, and then take a look at the connection between that research and how we can improve our relationship with the Most High. So let's take a look. This is an article that's on naturalfoodpantry.ca, and the title is "No Disease Can Exist in an Alkaline Environment." Dr. Otto Warburg was born in 1883 in Germany. He studied in Berlin, received a doctorate in chemistry in 1906. By the age of 28, he received a doctorate in medicine. So continues on with his credentials, and now it talks about his studies. He spent a significant portion of his life studying oxygen consumption and fermentation. In 1928, he released the well-known paper, "The Chemical Constitution of Respiration Ferment," where he differentiates the energy consumption between regular body cells and cancer cells. In the paper, Warburg highlights that regular body cells acquire energy through oxygen, making them obligate aerobes. And then it says in parentheses, for those of us who don't have a background in science, that means they require oxygen to survive, right? Whereas cancer cells can split glucose into lactic acid through the process of fermentation to survive, making them partial anaerobes, meaning they don't need oxygen to survive. And he's quoted here as saying, and this was the title of the article, "No disease, including cancer, can exist in an alkaline environment." And it goes on to say that for his research, he received a Nobel Prize, and he suggested that cancer cells live in hypoxic, very low oxygen and acidic conditions and derive energy from sugars by fermenting them the way yeast does. So a lot of that should sound familiar today to people. Acidic conditions within the body, sugars not being beneficial to us. As cancer progresses, the body becomes more and more acidic as its pH drops below 7.35. And I would argue that, or not even argue, but I can speak from experience, and many others will attest to the same thing. Having parasites in your body will do the same thing as they pump out toxins to also lower the pH. And clearly there's a connection between cancer and parasites. If that's not clear to anyone, that's an easy topic to go to or to revisit at a later date. His discoveries were revolutionary for the time and contributed greatly to what we know about cancer today. And then it goes into okay, this is actually helpful. The pH scale ranges from 1 highly acidic to 14 highly alkaline. While your body's pH usually hovers between 7.35 and 7.4, unfortunately, most of the foods that people consume today are full of sugar, preservatives, and genetically modified organisms, which all contribute to acidity in the body. We will eat our food, our defiled food among the Gentiles. The most alkaline foods are vegetables, as well as some fruits, grains, nuts, and alkaline water. Helping your body neutralize some of its acidity is crucial for maintaining your overall health. And if you raise the pH of your body higher than it says what that typical range is, which really isn't typical in today's world because we are consumed by toxic pollution in our water, in our food, in our air, and also through parasitic organisms that are exacerbating acidity and general toxicity in our body. So what I would then go on, and the article, does it even, I'm trying to see if it even mentions it here. The most important factor from my experience in determining the pH of the body is, originally I thought it was the food or the liquids that we consume, when in reality it's our thoughts. Without a doubt, you can consume all the apple cider vinegar that you want, and in fact I encourage you to, because it's very healthy and does assist in altering the pH of the body, increasing the pH. But if your thoughts are negative, your body will end up being acidic. And here's an article that starts to make that more clear. This is on alkalinenationusa.com. The title is How Emotions Affect Your pH Balance. Excuse me. If you're health conscious, you are most likely familiar with the pH scale for acid, alkaline foods, and water. But did you know, and it's of course it's very, as much as you can read up on that and inform yourself on it and eat accordingly, that's very important. To the extent that you can limit the intake of your foods to fruits, vegetables, nuts, avoid things like dairy, grain. Well, by grain, I mean wheat specifically. What's another one? Dairy, wheat. Even things like meat. Contribute to acidic bodies and other problems. Obviously, having meat in moderation, I think, is fine if you can get quality meat, but a lot of the meat you buy today is just such garbage. Let's take a look further into this article. So, but did you know that there is also a pH scale for negative and positive emotions? So, again, this is what is overwhelmingly responsible for determining the pH of your body. Not necessarily what you eat, although that contributes to it. Maybe that's 25% of it, but it really boils down to your thoughts. And I'm speaking about this from my personal experience. Did you know that our thoughts have more power over the health of our bodies than our diet? We can become a lot sicker faster by having negative thoughts than by drinking acidic water or eating acidic foods. Totally. We see it all the time, how happy-go-lucky people who eat junk seem to never get sick, while the health-conscious ones can be doing all the right things, but their negative thoughts are keeping them from optimal health. Very, very, very true. Now, here's a scale that takes a look at what emotions are going to be more alkaline forming in our bodies versus which ones are going to be more acidic. I would actually kind of change this to say by far, again in my experience, the most alkaline forming thoughts are those when I have done something that I know is in accordance with the will of the Most High. So, for example, recording lessons and posting them online. If there's an opportunity to even something as small as is giving alms to the poor. That's another one that I've noticed. Going out and preaching on the streets, and then someone that we'll say an Israelite Gentile comes up and inquires about the word, and now they've heard it and they're interested in it. That's another one. It really just And I'm sure people, brothers watching this, can attest to the feeling that comes from that. It is incredibly powerful, and at the same time, that it's so beneficial for the body. Now, conversely, I would say that on the polar opposite end are um, definitely thoughts relating to lust for sure. Hatred, or road rage, or I'm just trying to use kind of like realistic examples, again, of things that um, uh, just earlier today, driving in the car, and someone cuts you off, and I've really noticed that that's another one that's particularly acid forming. And one of the things that made it so clear to me was that, as I've alluded to in previous videos, that I am um, working on detoxifying my body and eliminating a lot of parasitic organisms. And they overwhelmingly, when they respond the most to those two example, or those two kind of poles of emotions or experiences that I mentioned. And it's very clear that the ones around faith um, cause them to be distressed, and the ones where it's like, I work myself into a shitty mood about something, it not only causes them to be, relaxed isn't the right word, but it's almost like they're thriving off of that. And then they will also seek to continue that negative train of thought. I'm really not communicating it the right way, but it's almost as if it really feels like they're secreting chemicals to continue that negative train of thought, if that makes sense. Again, stuff that I honestly never would have believed this had I not experienced it for myself. And again, those positive thoughts, it's like they're writhing. It's like I can feel them. They're writhing in pain. It's incredible.